Thank you very much, Program Director. The leadership of Metal Liquid, led by Brian Makgobe, learners and entrepreneurs from participating schools, partners to this event, ladies and gentlemen, Dumelang, good day. As the Gauteng Provincial Government, we are sincerely honored to participate at this Amashe Zimali Career Expo and Masterclass. This expo takes place at Pace Commerce and Entrepreneurship School of Specialization, to which I owe my educational upbringing as a former learner. As you may have correctly assumed, that indeed my schooling days were before the arrival of democracy, and our experiences of education compared to now are a bit different. But before I digress, the organizers of this Career Expo requested me to share what the Gauteng Provincial Government is working on to develop the economy in Gauteng, and to also briefly share the good news about the Gauteng Township Economic Development Act. Excuse me. As you would appreciate, this is an apt and timely topic to deliberate upon at a time when our country is seized with these colliding structural challenges of poverty, inequality, and unemployment, especially as it affects young people. To address decisively these colliding challenges, the Gauteng Provincial Government, as led by Premier David Makhura, is making headway in the implementation of aggressive infrastructure programs. This is informed by the simple logic that infrastructure investment is a catalyst and an enabling instrument to spur on inclusive economic growth and employment facilitation. Young entrepreneurs, what is being done at the Gauteng Provincial Government to forge an equitable industrialization path and to unlock economic opportunities in the Gauteng city region. I will focus on two interlinked areas of the 10 high-growth priority sector programs and the Township Economic Development Act, and in so doing, the hope is that firstly, other partners from the private sector will come on board to work with us to scale up the provincial government's public programs, and secondly, we work collectively together to capacitate and empower largely the young people disadvantaged in the labor market. And thirdly, we work together to convert South Africa's demographic dividend into a tangible project of economic emancipation for the many. To create and forge an equitable industrialization path, the Gauteng Provincial Government set up the Economic Acceleration War Room, functioning as a fusion center to agglomerate pragmatic and programmatic interventions by government and its social partners. To realize this, we have identified 10 high-growth sectors, and I'll briefly update you on their focal points and their status. We have identified a growth area in the construction sector, our installation, repairs, and maintenance program, as a focal point of deployment of consolidated offtake systems and financing pool for supply to government. In this sector, the government is speeding up government procurement processes to drive capital work in the Gauteng city region, including using state-run engineering procurement companies or contracted private sector equivalents. We have made significant progress to generate online worker and digital jobs, such as global business services, call center hub at Nasrec. We've entered into a partnership with Telkom and Vumatel for cloud zones, connected township development and deployment. There is movement to accelerate the youth employment services placement pipeline into the global business services online worker nodes. In the energy sector, the focal point is on microgrid initiatives, including an RFI, or a proposal call, if you like, to identify microgrid demand and supply pools. Fortunately, the government is in the process of activating a joint funding facility with the DBSA and the IDC. We have identified network anchor hubs for the creative industry in the city region, and the YES program has agreed to support one-year placements into the hub network. As you know, the creative sector is still a relatively untapped market in our country for its limitless gig economy opportunities. Program Director, one of the key potential drivers of industrialization is the industrial cannabis. Here, the focal point is to deploy funding and capitalization mechanisms for cannabis/hemp cultivation, processing, and distribution. There is also an intention here for extensive enterprise and supplier development opportunity pathways, which include and enable surrounding communities to be part of the value chain. Within the transportation and logistics sector, we are deploying a third-party access framework for rail freight movement through Gauteng using the Gauteng Eastern Cape High-Capacity Rail Corridor. There is notable progress to establish a locomotive and wagon manufacturing and maintenance cluster, building on gains in passenger train building capacity in the Ekurhuleni region of our province. With regards to food, beverages, and agro-processing, we've made progress in creating a platform for black producers and processors. We're also deploying the database of emerging farmers as a tool for consolidation of supply of farm products into government value chains. Program Director, as you would agree, more than 28 years after political emancipation, the lived ideal of economic liberation for the majority population still proves elusive. As a result, this has a direct bearing on our projects to build meaningful social cohesion and national unity. Therefore, unlocking economic opportunities through empowerment initiatives and driving the transformation agenda must be non-negotiable. This is a reason the Township Economic Development Act is indeed a new deal for our townships. The TEDA, as we call it, looks set to progressively redraw the economic geography of not only townships, but the entire Gauteng. In its very essence, it is enabling legislation and empowering policy instrument to bring economic opportunities to the many and vice versa. It is a binding legislation for future administrations in addressing the apartheid spatial morphology to set up better procurement rules, convert red tape into smart tape, provide tax incentives, deploy dedicated financing mechanisms, redraw the taxi economy into mini CBD nodes, and leverage the backyard township real estate into upgraded high streets. In our deliberations as the 6th administration, led by Premier Makura, the ideological consistency in our policies and programs is informed by the following 3 fundamentals. To be meaningful and sustainable, transformation must prioritize meritocracy. Reversing the inherited apartheid special legacy is about mainstreaming those who are historically and economically disadvantaged. And as the Gauteng provincial government, we are mindful of the necessity to prize lifelong learning, upskilling, relearning in this third decade of the 21st century. Having said the above, you may be wondering, what is the significance of the Township Economic Development Act for you as a young person? The Act creates a new economic geography and provides township-based entrepreneurs with an opportunity to gain easy access to market. This means that if you were to start a business based in the township, the Act favors you and provides further business upliftment through the Gauteng Township Economic Partnership Fund to access funding. Such funding platforms will have bias towards township-based enterprises, understanding the challenges faced by our SMMEs. To demonstrate the impact on this groundbreaking act, in 1993, on the 30th of April, Tim Berners-Lee, a computer scientist, released the source code for the world's first web browser called the World Wide Web. Excuse me. To date, the creation and globalization of the World Wide Web is considered one of the most transformational events in our history, with more than 4 billion people found online every day. The internet has led to more people gaining access to information, with Americans said to be spending 24 hours a week online. Access to internet has led to collaborations, sharing of knowledge and cultures, which was unthinkable in the 1980s. It was this groundbreaking innovation that stimulated the establishment of companies such as Google, Facebook, Twitter, Yahoo, Instagram, and the cell phone networks such as Vodacom, MTN, Telkom Mobile, and Cell C. The Township Economic Development Act will have such long-lasting impact where the concept of buy local will be a lived reality for the 15 million population of Gauteng. The Act will pivot new township entrepreneurs who can develop products that can be found in your local shopping center. While the Fees Must Fall movement was a protest action led by students as a rallying call for institutions of higher learning to make quality education affordable, the Gauteng Township Economic Development Act is a government-led transformative instrument to accelerate economic development of township-based SMMEs and to radically improve the standard of living in our townships. Transformation and meaningful empowerment makes both social, political, and economic sense. Ladies and gentlemen, in conclusion, as the Gauteng provincial government, we'd like to thank social partners like Meta Liquid for hosting this expo focused on exposing young entrepreneurs to opportunities. South Africa Incorporated is dependent on us prioritizing, above all, finding meaningful projects to advance socio-economic development of SMMEs as they are the backbone of the Gauteng economy. Thank you very much.